Welcome back to A Year in Marvel. A little late. 2022 Addendum Edition.
Yeah.
My name is Antonio Alcazar.
And I'm Jason Tech.
And we're here to finish up last year's A Year in Marvel, which we will not be doing this year, with the one thing we didn't get to talk about last year, which was...
Hawkeye. We're still going to be doing movies.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And we'll still be talking about the Marvel movies when they come out. Like, there's no chance in hell we're not podcasting about...
Because we're going to see them.
About like Doctor Strange coming up here. But that'll probably be Patreon stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think that we're going to do it on a regular episode. So if you like our Marvel coverage, you're here for the Marvel coverage, throw us $1 on the Patreon. You'll get access to that stuff and the other stuff that we've released on there.
I mean, the main point of why we did this podcast was to do old shit you had not seen. Yeah. It wasn't really set up to be a Marvel podcast. Yeah. But then there was so much Marvel, we're like, fuck it.
And we both like Marvel.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of like we podcast.
Right.
And then it was just like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Yeah. And I say for a large chunk of that, we really enjoyed talking about the Marvel stuff.
Yeah.
We got a little burnt towards the end, I think, but like we wanted to finish this one just so that the whole kit and caboodle is all finished up.
Yeah. We talked about everything.
Yes.
We just got to finish this up.
Yeah, exactly.
Remind me, you watched this recent enough that you know what we're doing, right?
Yep, absolutely.
So we made mention of some of the stuff that we'd been watching for Hawkeye, right? Or did we talk about everything?
We kind of glanced over like the first few episodes and how we felt about it so far.
Okay, cool. Do you want to just talk about the whole thing? How did you feel about Hawkeye?
Yeah. Okay. So I feel as though this is probably one of the most fun of the Marvel TV shows. And in fact, I would probably just say hands down the most fun of the ones, okay? And by that I mean like I think Loki's better.
Okay.
I think WandaVision, other than the end, was probably better.
Yeah. WandaVision was like the most, I'd say, high art.
Yes.
Of all of these.
Yes.
They shit the bed.
Yeah.
On the last
to me,
episode.
it's like a lot like Eternals, where it flowed very close to the sun. It could have been great, and it just missed.
Yeah.
So,
was that pun intended? Flew very close to the sun.
Eternals? For Eternals, I suppose.
Icarus.
Yeah, Icarus. But I thought this was a lot of fun, man. And the Haley Steinfeld, I think that's the girl's name, right? Something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
So I'm inclined to like her, obviously.
Why?
Because her last name's Seinfeld. But
I don't think her last name is actually Seinfeld.
I think it's something close to that.
Yeah,
or whatever.
it is.
But yeah, so I only know this girl because I don't know if you remember this, but did we cover Bumblebee? No, we just talked about Bumblebee for a little bit. She was the main star from Bumblebee as well. Okay, so
Steinfeld.
Thank you. So I knew her from that. Other than that, really not. I felt like this was a well-produced, high-end CW show, though. Okay,
interesting.
And it's important to point out.
I don't disagree with you.
Yeah,
but I'll disagree with your. I'm going to disagree with you, but I don't disagree with you.
What else is new here? So I felt as though it was a lot of fun. Which is how I feel about a lot of the CW shows. My problem with the CW shows for DC and even Gotham, is never that this is dog shit. It's that the first 2 seasons are usually good, and then it becomes dog shit. Because they just keep going on and on and on and on.
Yeah,
and it's all 13 episodes, and it's just like, you just don't have enough, in my opinion,
that seems to me like a really old style of production.
It is, but there's still fools out there that watch this.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
So, I mean, there's still the cleaning lady on Fox TV, right? So, which is like, I'm sure you have no idea what this is. It's about this Mexican illegal immigrant who is a cleaning lady for an office.
Okay.
But then she does fantastical shit like she's Liam Neeson and like helps stop murders and save people's lives and shit like that. Oh. And then it turns out, I don't know because I obviously did not watch this show. Yeah. But I believe I've
never even heard of this. Well, I've never even seen a fucking preview.
Let me explain why in a second. So it turns out she's like some like high-end trauma doctor that's like insanely smart from Mexico or whatever. Okay. But she couldn't get into America because, you know, we don't accept people like that. Yeah. Like, right?
I think doctors have an easier time.
Yeah. But, so the only reason I even knew about this show is because when I was watching like NFL playoffs and stuff like that, it's on Fox. So they constantly played this commercial, every commercial break.
Yeah.
And there'd always be people like, who are you? And she'd be like, I'm just a cleaning lady.
Sure, okay.
So terrible.
That's
but like,
interesting,
they're still making
it's
shit
been
like
running
that.
for years now too. It's been running for like 4 years.
Oh, really? So it's not even this first season. That's insane.
Oh no, maybe not. Maybe not. I think that was a movie.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right. Oh no, it just premiered.
Okay, so but they make like 911. Like they make all these shows for like regular ass people that don't like want to pay for HBO.
I just feel like the long form. We don't really know how this is going to end because that doesn't really matter. We just need to get you every week.
Syndicated type television.
Yeah, it's just like that's such a poor format to tell a story.
Yeah.
And there's just so many examples of it being done short format. Here's 7 episodes. Just enjoy this story.
Yes.
That is so successful that like why would I tune in every week for like this meandering plot where like sometimes it's just going to be a bore, a chore because nothing in this episode is going to go anywhere. Nothing's going to matter.
So I think we operate in a different space than many people in America.
Interesting. I don't know about many. Some of the like the top rated shows of all time have been shows where it's like the showrunners are like, this is not going to go more than 4 or 5 seasons. I think after that, we just want to be done.
Sure.
And when you're looking at something that is on like ABC or NBC and shit, they're just like, can we milk this for 10 years?
Yeah.
Because if we can, that's the ideal.
We're going to, Yep. But what I'm trying to say, though, is I would still say there's a gigantic portion of America that likes that. Watches that type of dog shit. Yes. So, and it's just not our circles, so we're just not exposed to it as much. Like, I don't know anybody who watches that dog shit.
What's the appeal? The narrative, then, isn't the appeal. The appeal is the...
something to do every week.
Characters, maybe?
I think that's what it is more than anything else.
Consistency?
It's just something to do every week. Like it's Sunday night. I don't have anything else to do.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn on my TV and watch
The
this
Good
bullshit.
Doctor.
The Good Doctor. Yes.
I watch The Good Doctor every week. That's my comfy show.
Yep.
I'm watching The Good Doctor. That's interesting.
Yeah. I think that is what it is, man. Like when it boils down to it. Dude, there's still people who watch fucking game shows every day, right? Like Price is Right.
I'm always blown away by the game shows because who's watching this?
Dude, and it's not
enough
even
that the networks are like, no, let's fund
every morning. These are going to happen, right?
Yeah.
And it's like there's an entire cable station, the Game Shows channel.
Yeah,
so,
but that's rerun.
Yes, of course. Which is more who the fuck is watching reruns of these fucking shows, right? But
that's just for like dealership. Lobbies. That's that. Like when you're waiting on your oil change.
Yes,
that's what that channel was made.
That is so true. Every time I get my oil change, that fucking shit is on, man. Sure. And you know what's weird to me about these like game show type of things is the fact that like I don't even see the appeal because like I see the appeal of watching like Judge Joe Brown or Judge Judy, right? Is that her name?
It's
right?
Drama,
right? It's drama, and or like Steve Wilkos,
but like
Jerry Springer.
I would say that the game shows are kind of drama.
Let me explain though the difference, in my opinion.
Yeah,
people don't watch Jerry Springer or any of those types of shows, the judge shows and stuff like that, the divorce shows, because they're like intrigued by the drama. They watch these shows because they go, well, at least my life isn't as bad as that.
Oh yeah, well
that's most of the reason why I think
that's my big idea on all of the TLC shows, my 400 Pound Life, 90 Day Fiancé, all these shows where it's just like these people are clearly suffering,
right?
And
they're much worse than I. Like,
and people like to watch
bad.
that show because they're just like, wow, I'm glad I'm not that stupid, like shit like that.
Exactly,
it's a way to kind of like lift yourself up.
Yeah,
but like the game shows,
no, there's nothing. Like just
game shows are just like, God, I hope this guy gets shit on. or the fantasy of like, oh, that'd be so cool if I would, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's part of what it is. And I understand some. Like, I understand Jeopardy, right?
It's just like I feel like what we're both coming to, the idea that we're both coming to is that these shows or people generally wanted this stuff out of TV shows for a while.
Yeah.
And I feel like now, when it wasn't before, but now these things that we want out of TV are becoming more niche things, where it's just like you got to be a specific kind of person to still want something like this. Because I can see a time in our past, I'll say late 90s, when it's just, this is what we wanted out of TV. Sure. Consistent, serialized every week. We watch this, we feel this stuff. That's what we got. But I feel like maybe it was the internet that kind of just exposed everybody to everything culture-wise that made it so like now there's just so much good content that is like short form and like I don't know, maybe really well built, that if you're looking for like a powerful narrative experience, this is probably what you're going to do. You're going to get Netflix, you're going to get Hulu, you're going to get something like that. And if you're really just the kind of person who's just looking to turn off for a little while, which I feel like, especially when you're getting something out of media that's just fewer and fewer, farther between, you don't have to cast such a wide net anymore. Maybe that's what it was. They were just casting these wide nets. It's just like really like surface level stuff. This guy's going to get him money. Feel his rush, you know? That's the really wide net. But now, because it's so much easier to make good niche product, where like this show, Hawkeye, big fucking show, everybody's watching it. But like, I guarantee, I would almost probably say that more people still watch The Good Doctor than Hawkeye.
Yeah, I bet more people watch The Cleaning Lady
than Hawkeye. But the people who make Hawkeye are making way more money, because the people who are watching Hawkeye are very willing to pay for watching Hawkeye. Yeah. Where it's like The Cleaning Lady is the people who are just like, I just want someone on the fucking TV.
Yeah, but that's not how they make money. It's two different types of making money.
They're making money off ads.
Yes.
Right? But like, there's more people still that are willing to just sit in front of a TV and not give a shit about what they're watching.
Right.
Rather than the people who are just watching something specific. Yeah. But the people who are watching something specific are happy to pay for it.
Yeah, you know what? I feel where you're coming from. And like, see, to me, I don't watch any of those dog shit shows because that's what sports have become for me, right? Like I think
that's why sports are still doing so well.
Of course, because like I think when like for instance, I've watched an NBA game almost every night over like the last 3 weeks, okay? Jesus. Because when I'm painting, I have NBA TV on in the background, and I'm like have a game on in the background, and that's probably like some other people when they're doing other shit or they're just vegging or whatever, they have on Fox Channel.
Now when I'm doing that, I'm on TikTok.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like a younger generation is not
or Twitch
watching The Price is Right.
Yeah.
You got Twitch or you got like apps,
YouTube, even YouTube, right?
YouTube,
yeah,
for sure.
So
even YouTube feels a little bit like older to me now.
I think we're giving. Yeah, it is. I think we're giving channels like HBO, Netflix, all that stuff a little bit too much credit.
Interesting.
And why I say that is, for one, I think we as viewers are still very similar to those other people that are like, I watch The Good Doctor every single week and it's my show and it's off for 12 weeks and then it's back on because we have the sweeps week and all that other bullshit, right? Because think about how many people are like, I need Stranger Things season 4 and I need Stranger Things season 5.
Me too.
Right?
I mean, like Succession, I think, is maybe my favorite show of all time. Like, it's rivaling Breaking Bad for me, which is like... Breaking Bad was like on this enormous pedestal no one could reach.
Yeah,
Succession just finished its third season, and every time it's on, I'm just like, this is the best fucking show I've ever watched.
I gotta get it. You are now my second friend that has recommended
Succession,
this, so I'm gonna.
It really 100% is not for everyone. I've recommended it to a lot of people, and a lot of people are just like, I couldn't get into it.
Sure,
but what I was saying with that is that I agree. That one, Handmaid's Tale, like I can't wait till they're back on.
And I even think about this. Okay, this is how ingrained I am to the old ways of like doing things. Like when Game of Thrones didn't come out like in March one year and it was pushed to summer, like it fucked up my whole year because I was so used to Sunday nights from like the end of March till like midsummer. Game of Thrones is on and I watch that every Sunday night, and that's what I do on Sunday nights, right? So like I think a lot of us I think binging has changed things a little bit because people are so quick now to go, they dump shows out. But now you look at more and more channels are actually starting to step away from that because they're starting to see that it's not as great as it first came out. Like Netflix is still doing it, but already Amazon has gone to, we dump 1 or 2 episodes, maybe 3 episodes, and then we go weekly.
And then we go weekly.
You get a little bit of binge, but then we go weekly. And it's because, I tried to explain this to somebody the other day, because of, what was that show?
I do love that format though.
I do too. I think that's the best right there. Because you're giving me like a movie and then a show with it too.
Yeah.
But what was that Korean show that we watched and talked about?
Squid Game.
Squid Game. Okay. Squid Game is my perfect example. Most people have already forgotten about Squid Game. And the reason why is because everybody jumps in, they binge it at their own paces, whatever, and then it's done. And then you talk about it for a couple weeks.
The difference is that with Netflix, though, they want bandwagon.
Yeah.
Right? They're not looking for long form commitments.
Right.
Because of their insane release schedule.
Yes.
Netflix is bringing out shit fucking
Every
all
week.
the time.
Every week there's new shit.
And so they want everybody in the world to talk about this one thing just so that some people jump in.
Yeah.
And then another one.
Yep.
I think the idea is to give people this idea that, like, Jesus, there's always some good shit coming out on Netflix.
I think Netflix wants a water cooler show every month.
Month.
But every month they want it to be a different show that they're going.
Yeah.
Whereas HBO,
which I don't think that that's a bad idea.
I don't think it is if you're able to keep up that production run.
Yes.
Right?
They have been, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think HBO, for instance, I'm going back to that, can keep up with that. They can barely put out 3 shows a year, right?
Though arguably they do at least have 3 fucking killer shows a year.
Yeah.
I feel like
Except
HBO,
for I felt like recently they've been kind of like, I don't know, man. Like there's I feel like
I don't know. Didn't you tell me about a show recently that you watched with them that you really liked?
What was it?
I don't know. I feel like you were just like, you should watch it. And I was like, it's on HBO, and you were like, yeah. I saw you at the card shop, and then and I watched Succession this year, so that's 2.
What was that show called? Oh, Station 11.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. I thought Station 11 was a great show.
Yeah.
But it's not a talked about show. Right?
Yeah.
It's been a while since they've had a talked about show.
What was the last one? Watchmen?
Lovecraft Country. Lovecraft Country got a lot of attention.
Did it get a lot of attention?
Yeah, it got a lot of attention. But
I feel like none of these shows get Squid Game's attention. Or like Bird Box attention. Where it's just like everybody, their fucking mother is talking about this shit.
The last thing that's been like that is Game of Thrones. Right, where it was like the number. Yes, it was like the number one thing.
Maybe,
and so
maybe that's your only.
No, I would say like Sopranos. Sopranos was like super big.
You know which one was big? The one that you really like that you always talk about, Chernobyl.
Chernobyl, of course.
I heard everybody
Chernobyl.
and their mom talking about Chernobyl.
You know, that's because it was like the Band of Brothers of like this like 10-year gap or whatever. Because everybody talked about Band of Brothers in the aughts.
Yeah.
So like that was like it won all the awards. It was everything like that. So like they're gonna have one of those, but those are gonna be like miniseries, like one shot, boom, done.
Yeah.
But I know. So anyways, to get all the way back to what we're actually talking about with Hawkeye.
Yeah.
I have a weird like thing with Disney. I somewhat, and you know, it's funny since we've talked last. I haven't podcasted with you for a while. I was at Disney just a few weeks ago.
Oh yeah,
and it was very interesting.
The World,
yeah,
right?
Disney World, in Florida. It was a great time. I want to say that, and it was really the only thing that was weird to me is that they have not incorporated Marvel into Disney World yet.
Interesting.
Like, there's a Star Wars section that's
don't
fucking
they have like
amazing.
A Disneyland with
They
the
have
Marvel
our Avengers Campus at Disneyland.
Yeah,
but
because I know that there's one where like Spider-Man is swinging around and shit.
Yeah.
That one's real popular on the internet where you like to see because they use like a dummy or something, like a robot, like one of those like Boston Dynamics robots that like swing in the air and shit. It looks real. So I've just seen that online a lot. So like I know that they're doing something, but that's in California.
Yes. And I just like the Florida Disney World. That's the original also too. The first one that opened and whatnot. So they used to always do their stuff there first and then California. Yeah. But now I think because California is so popular and has so many people that live there and whatnot, it's now going to the opposite. Sure. Like Star Wars Land opened there first.
Arguably is a big IP, maybe when they open.
So here was the thing though, I want to point out too.
Yeah.
When I went to Disney, right, I thought Star Wars had its own park. Like it was its own thing, Galaxy's Edge.
Well, that's not the case?
It's not.
Oh, interesting.
It's
I thought so too.
Right. Right, exactly. It's a section of Hollywood Studios.
Oh.
Okay. But it is mind-blowingly fucking awesome. Even if you're like kind of into Star Wars, you walk into the section and you're like in Star Wars. Like you're in, like it's a cantina and everybody talks like they're in Star Wars. They're like, that will be 87 credits or whatever. And you hand them the cash. They hand you the receipt. They're like, here's your cargo slip or whatever. And like all the bottles have like the Star Wars writing on it and stuff like that. So it's like you're in Star Wars world. Yeah. But there's only like 3 rides, okay? There's like a Millennium Falcon ride, Star Tours.
You go in the Millennium
Dude,
yeah.
The rides are amazing, bro. So we did, the one we got to go on was Rise of the Resistance. And it was fucking crazy, bro. You like get on a ship and it's like gets taken over by like live actors that are from the First Order.
No way.
They order you off the ship. They're like, get off the ship right now or you rebel scum. And then there's like a whole room full of stormtroopers and they file you into like these interrogation chambers.
Yeah.
And then like, digital Kylo Ren and all this stuff show up and they're like, you're going to give me whatever, this and that, blah, blah, blah. The rebels show up to fuck with them. Then like the side door explodes and like a dude comes running and you're like, we're from the Resistance, come with us. And you like go running off to them into a car and then you drive all over this like Star Destroyer. And it's fucking I was like, the entire prequels are worth it just for this ride.
Yeah, right.
It was like a
You're talking sequels, but
sequels. Sorry,
Yeah.
it was like a 14-ish minute ride.
Yeah.
It was so fucking awesome, man. And my kids loved it, obviously. Yeah. But then I was saying, like, I'm like, this goes back to like the theme song shit we talked with Marvel. Like, I feel like Disney is not capitalizing on Marvel enough. Like, they're capitalizing the shit out of Star Wars.
Now,
but George Lucas did that first.
They paid way more for Star Wars than they paid for
insane more.
Yeah, and Marvel is making their Marvel made their money back real quick, but they're making their money without any effort. I feel like Disney, they're putting in some fucking legwork to make that shit make their money back.
From like I read something from the sequels alone and those two other movies made their money back. Okay, from their investment. So now everything past that.
Yeah, exactly. But they didn't want to just make their money back.
No, of course
they
not.
needed to make money off of it. But what I'm saying is, it doesn't look like Star Wars has those kinds of legs.
No, I disagree.
Because Star Wars, to me, now, as a person admittedly on the outside looking in, is really not really well loved very much.
I think I don't disagree with your take, but I think you are looking at Star Wars from a media point of view.
And and you're talking merchandise.
Yeah. I'll tell you, as a person who collects
that's why they need it at Disney World.
Yes.
Because they need to fucking make money
like
off that shit.
Those 1/6 scale figures, that I collect or whatnot, right?
Yeah.
Every Star Wars one sells the fuck out. Like they cannot keep enough of them. Okay, Marvel's the exact opposite. Like you can get them for like a year in. Like there's Star Wars ones that sell out before they're released. Yeah. So like the pre-orders have sold out every single copy they have. There's not a single Marvel figure that has ever sold out before release, and most of them go a year or more before they sell out.
I wonder if that's their mentality. I wonder if their mentality is fundamentally Star Wars is a merchandising opportunity. Fundamentally, Marvel is a movie-going opportunity. So we're going to make a lot of money at the movies with Marvel.
Yeah.
And we'll get some merchandise. We're going to get a lot of merchandise money with Star Wars, and we're going to get some money at the movies.
I think that's smart for them to do approach it that way. Because
if they're actually approaching that way, it makes a lot more sense how they've handled the movies. Because in the movies now, they don't really necessarily have to care about a positive narrative.
Sure.
Because the point is, how much shit can we put in this movie to sell it?
Yeah.
And that's going to make the movies suffer a little bit, but that's not the point of the movie.
Right.
The point of the movie is to sell some shit.
It hasn't been the point of the movie since basically...
Ewoks.
Right. I was going to say, since Return of the Jedi, George Lucas was pretty clear. Like, this is a fucking merchandise machine. This is not your fucking, like... classic story that's gonna mind blow you with the fucking storylines that we weave through this.
Honestly, if it hadn't been for the Ewok Wookiee thing, it could have been
possibly
that third movie. But that third movie really suffered because of the Ewoks.
Yeah,
I feel like I was talking to my girlfriend like 3 days ago, and we were watching a TikTok where somebody was saying the top or that person's list of 10 out of 10 movies, like perfect movies. And their second one was Empire Strikes Back.
Sure.
And Janet...
I'd agree.
And Janet, rolled her eyes. And I'm like, no. I may shit on Star Wars, as much as the next guy. I have no love for it. Mm-hmm. But that is a fucking perfect movie. Like, I told her, I was like, that movie is so strong... It literally fueled a franchise of bad movies for 40 years because of the love that it brought.
Those first two movies really
The first one was it was like Terminator 1.
Yeah.
This is good.
Yeah.
And then Terminator 2 came out. It was just like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
That's
actually a pretty good comparison.
But it's like orders of magnitude bigger.
Right.
It's like that second movie was so good that for 40 years they were able to fund whatever they fucking wanted based on the love that they bought with how good that movie was.
Yeah.
So I told her, I was just like, I don't like Star Wars at all, but that fucking movie is a solid 10 out of 10.
Yeah, man. It's interesting. That's funny, the 10 out of 10s. I wonder, we should do a podcast about that.
Where we just talk about our like 10 out of 10.
Yeah, top 10 movies. Although yours will be dominated by Dennis Villanueva. But like, you know, either way.
Dennis Villanueva.
You're just like, so he's made 5 movies. So my first 5 are all Dennis Villanueva films. You'll have to see a couple of them.
If I was going to do my top 10 movies, really, the only Denis Villeneuve movie that would be in there is Arrival, probably.
Well, I'm shocked.
Yeah.
No,
Dune was awesome, but I really loved Arrival.
I don't think Dune would be in most people's top 10. Like you'd have to be a Dune fanatic to be.
Now,
like maybe
we will see though. Once the second Dune movie comes out, it'll like as an experience, it'll probably be higher.
Could be great. I'm actually very anxious to see the next Dune movie. Yeah. I've learned a lot about Dune since my thing. I can tell. We haven't talked in a while because man, our meanderings on the hook. So,
for sure.
But so to get to actually what we're talking about, Hawkeye. So overall, I enjoyed this until the Kingpin. So I was uber disappointed with the Kingpin. And by that I mean, okay, so here's the thing, right?
You watch the Netflix stuff with Kingpin?
Yeah, my only Netflix show I enjoyed was actually Daredevil. Okay, so and I thought the Kingpin was great.
You were familiar with D'Onofrio's? Yeah, Vincent
absolutely.
And you liked
my
it?
City. Yeah. I think he was probably like one of the 2 best things about Daredevil. I absolutely loved him. Yeah. When he showed up and it was like, here's a main one, Mr. Grinch. I didn't hate that, okay? But I really disliked the next episode's version of Kingpin because I felt he was very Disney-fied, okay?
Okay.
And it's Disney show.
Now, one of the things that you had brought up was how different the tone was.
Yes.
Marvel versus Netflix.
Yes.
And so they needed to change some stuff.
For sure.
They couldn't have the Netflix fucking version in the Disney shows because it is a different tone.
It is.
That Kingpin, it just could not fit. You know, they had to make him a little.
That Kingpin was like hardcore Tony Soprano Kingpin.
Sure, yeah.
This Kingpin was like, he wore a white suit with a white top hat. Like, when I saw him in that scene, I was just like, all right, we're doing this. I guess.
He's a little bit more
like,
superhero-y.
Yeah.
In that, like, he could really take a fucking beating, you know?
Well, that was in. I mean, they did that in Netflix too, because he fights the Punisher in that one scene, and the Punisher's like beating the shit out of him, and he's just like slamming Punisher. Right. Good point. Good
this
point.
one, there was
Marvel movies are always a little bit more.
This one, it was a little. He was a little stronger.
Yeah. I don't disagree with that. Sure. Then okay. So let me ask a question.
Yeah.
Is Kingpin dead?
No.
Okay, so that to me, so I want to start off. Yeah. Kingpin's brought back.
They just set up the Echo show.
Kingpin's brought back for one episode and then killed. And I was like,
what? You were like, for what?
What? And then my friend reached out and he goes, well, wait, we don't see him get shot.
Exactly, yeah.
And I'm like, that's worse to me than the people I knew who watched Game of Thrones until the last season were like, Stannis might come back. We didn't see his head cut off.
No, in comics, if I don't see a body, it's alive.
So she just shot off in the air?
And sometimes when I see a body, still alive. You know? Like in this show, when it comes to multiverse and variants and all of the different ways that they can get people coming back, it could be a Skrull, it could be fucking anything. I don't count anybody dead. Sure. This might as well be the comic book universe for me now, where it's just like, you know, whatever. He'll come back. Now, the Echo shooting Kingpin thing for me was just, one, they didn't show it, so obviously he's not dead. Two, they're setting up the Echo show. You know, she's got her own show coming back. They're not going to get Vincent D'Onofrio for one fucking episode. There's no way. He's too loved, and if they went through the fucking trouble of hiring him, he's going to be in this.
If he is dead, I'm going to be like,
what the fuck?
Get fucked, Disney. Like, that's just silliness. Like, what? Right. Yeah.
And also, I think they just recently announced that they're doing a Daredevil show. So, like, there's ample reason to believe that he didn't die there.
I want to say something.
He got shot in the chest,
right?
And maybe he fell. Maybe Echo thought he was alive, ran away. Who knows? A million things. But he's not dead.
There's been no person who's been more back and forth on Disney and Marvel than myself.
Yeah.
Okay? I think
you don't
we can agree with it. If Disney starts pulling HBO miniseries and they're just like, okay, we put out 4 television shows, one of them is going to get a second season. and then we're going to put out 4 more television shows, and one of them is going to, and they do a bunch of miniseries, I will praise them.
I mean, that's what they're doing.
I want to make sure it happens. Because if WandaVision season 2 comes, and then Loki season 2 comes, and then Hawkeye season 2 comes, I'm going to be disappointed.
Winter Soldier season 2. I think the only one out of all of those that's getting a second season is Loki. Yeah,
love it. If these are miniseries that lead to movies, or you split things off, like what you just brought up, like Echo having her own show. Perfectly fine with that. I don't want season 2 of Hawkeye. I want an Echo show. Yeah. And then I want maybe a Winter Soldier show, which just deals with Winter Soldier, and that's it. Like, I'm perfectly fine with that.
Or like a Falcon show without Winter Soldier, and it's Falcon and then the other guy.
Some other adventure.
The other guy, the
Air Force guy.
The Hispanic guy?
Yeah.
He becomes perfectly a new Falcon or whatever.
Mixing things up is what you do,
love it,
in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, that to me is like, now, Netflix, if like the next season of Witcher was about like different Witchers or some other like part of the storyline and didn't even have Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, if I remember correctly, it won't.
Right. Yeah. But I'm just saying, for example, like, build worlds.
Yeah.
Stop going, this is our character.
But that's what they have been doing.
Well, we'll see.
They have been doing that.
They've been pumping movies 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Okay,
so,
but then that's it.
Yeah.
Except for Spider-Man. I guess Spider-Man's going to have a 4, 5, 6.
We've talked about this when we did our Spider-Man cast. I would much rather see the next one be like Spider-Man and Venom or Spider-Man and...
Yeah, me too. But also, they all kind of have been that.
Well...
Because like the first one was Spider-Man and Iron Man. The second one was Spider-Man and Nick Fury.
Yeah.
Third one was Spider-Man and
all the
Doctor
Spider-Man.
Strange. And Doctor Strange.
Yeah, and Doctor Strange. Good point.
So like he hasn't had
Well, we've talked about this before. Yet. I never want another Marvel movie that's not a first movie to be a solo movie again.
Yes. Yeah, I agree, because now you have so many characters that you can have a fraction of what the comic books have.
Right.
Where it's even if a dude shows up for 20 seconds and goes, hey, do you need help with this? And they're like, no. And they're like, okay, cool. Say hi to your mom for me. And then disappears. I want that in everything.
Think about it, even the new movies. The new movies like Shang-Chi still had Wong in it. Fucking Eternals still had the Jon Snow character that they're building with Blade. Also, I forgot, Black Knight, I think his name is. But still had these other characters that are going to branch. Like, that is the one thing.
Brie Larson's Captain Marvel.
Oh, did you hear about that?
What?
The next Captain Marvel is actually her, and it's going to be 2 people together. I forgot who.
Yeah, it's the Marvels.
Yeah. Some other, right, exactly.
Is that the one with America Chavez in it?
I don't remember. But, like, I just saw an article about it, and I was like, beautiful.
Yeah.
Please keep doing this.
Yeah.
Like, the way you're going to keep me interested in Marvel is doing these interesting team-ups and, like, combinations and continuously building out the world. Please do not do the Star Wars mistake of this is the Skywalker line, and we're just going to keep doing fucking Skywalkers for 40 years.
I don't think they're going to.
I hope
really
you're right.
don't think they're going to. I think that there's no indication of that. I think that the world is, they've put so much legwork into making this world be huge, and have just delivered on this was happening here, this one's happening here, that I don't see that stopping anytime soon. I don't think there's any reason to think that's going to stop everything anytime soon. And we'll know this year, all year, because they're not stopping. It's constant fucking releases the rest of the year.
But I want to ask you something.
Yeah.
What'd you think of Hawkeye?
Yeah, I agree with you. I had a lot of fun with it in a way that I wasn't expecting to. To me, it looked like the silliest leading up to it. Yeah. It's just like, it's like a Christmas special, and it's Hawkeye, who's already a little toned down. And I should have seen it coming, how much I was going to enjoy it, because I think Black Widow did a fair amount of building up this side of Marvel, which was like the assassins, what they went through, how like...
Not everything's going to be Thanos level.
Exactly. But even more specifically, how much the characters suffered for being the characters. How much they lost, how much of their life they had to give up because they were these characters. Black Widow, for the first fucking like 8 movies that she was in, was just like Black Widow. And then suddenly it was just like, well, you know, I had to do some really horrific shit. And like, they would always kind of hint at it, but they started devoting more and more time to it. And then eventually it was just like, we're really empathetic individuals. People who had rough pasts, who had to get over that rough past and be good despite the knowledge that we can never really wipe away our like past. there's something pretty powerful about that narrative. And I feel like they really were hitting it with Black Widow for a long time. And then with Hawkeye, they were like, okay, we're really leaning into it now because he was the Ronin and he did a lot of really ugly shit. Yeah. And they made this compelling narrative around a character that I really didn't give a shit about, you know? Like, I didn't really care about Hawkeye very much. And, like, the first scene where he's jumping off the building and he's saving, he's like fighting the Chitauri.
Loved it.
And she's watching it happen. I was just like, yeah, like, if you saw that, you'd be like, dude, there are people that are really sacrificing, you know? And her motivations were always clear. Her mom was a little bit too much of like being telegraphed as the bad guy.
Silly to me. Like
they were just telegraphing her like malevolent kind of situation.
Sure.
Like I was just like, okay, you're clearly the bad guy, right? Like from the beginning, from the very first episode, I was like, she's the bad guy. And all the characters were fun. Yeah, I think the weakest part of the show was that Echo didn't really have a lot of the same presence she has in the comics.
Sure.
And so like that's just not. I don't know. It was compelling because of what she meant to Hawkeye, which I think was the point. Mm-hmm. But I don't necessarily feel like it was compelling enough to get me hyped about her own show. Mm-hmm. But it's gonna come out and it's Marvel, so I'll watch it. You know?
Yeah, I thought overall it was just a fun show.
Yeah, and then so that now there were a couple of moments where I rolled my eyes.
Of course.
Especially in the last episode.
Sure.
Where they were fighting on the skating rink.
Yeah.
Like it was supposed to be the big payoff.
Yeah.
And like it just felt very cartoony.
They are let's just be honest.
More than I'm willing to allow for a Marvel movie. Because obviously it's supposed to be comic booky.
At this point, they should just stop trying to have the big fight payoff in these television shows. Like
they should have a long time ago.
Yeah, I mean, like they failed in every single one now. Yeah. Like the end of like WandaVision, the end of fucking Falcon Winter Soldier was silly. The Loki one, I'm just like overall,
every one of them.
At least Loki they didn't shoot for as of a high end of a one. And what's worse about it is like,
well, they did it in the second to last episode,
right?
The big dragon thing.
Yeah. So like,
and that episode, while a lot of people thought was very fun, I thought was, again, too silly.
It's just not what they... I don't know, man. I want to say it's not what they're good at, but they're good at it in the big screen. They're just bad at it here.
That's also the big problem with the big screen movies.
What's that?
The big fuck-all fight at the end. You know, like everybody always just kind of like, okay, we got to shut off our fucking brains for the last 15, 20 minutes of the movie because it's just the big fight. You know?
Yeah,
the big complaint is always the big fight, the third movie, the third act fight.
Yeah,
that was boring.
There's been times they've done it well.
Course, yeah,
but yeah, you're probably right.
There's been some times where it's just like, oh, this is really good.
Yeah,
but mostly it's just like my eyes gloss over.
Yeah,
you know, it's the least important part of the movie, the least engaging part of the movie.
I think I want to point this out. If you take Jeremy Renner out of this show, I pretty much hate the show. I felt as though he carried the shit out of this show.
He really did.
Which I was
he made a compelling Hawkeye.
Exactly.
I cared about that dude.
Exactly. And that was the last thing I felt like was going to happen.
His hearing loss and all that, all of those scenes.
Yeah.
Him dealing with his kids and like the idea of just wanting to be done with this, but like cannot be done with this. That to me was all like compelling. I loved it.
Agreed.
Yeah. Agreed. It was a good show. It hit me in the heartstrings just like they wanted it to.
Yeah.
They designed it well. There was a couple of things that I felt like skewed a little too, but okay.
Like the stepdad. What a silly clown!
I actually kind of like that.
I mean, he was funny, but he was such a silly clown. Like you're just like
I like that character.
Yeah.
I also like that actor.
Sure.
Tony Dalton is also in Better Call Saul.
Okay.
And he plays a very similar character.
Sure.
And I like him.
Okay.
I feel like I like that character because I'm a lot like that. And my girlfriend is actually the one that pointed it out because she was saying, I fucking hate that guy. And I'm just like, oh, I like him so much. And she goes, yeah, it's because you're like him. And I'm like, okay, well, that's fair.
Yeah, I can see that.
So like, I liked a lot of it. I understand that they're casting a wide net for a family. And so a lot of it had to be a little more, you know.
Sure.
But all in all, I really like this show. I would say, in retrospect now, it's been almost 2 months, right, since we saw it.
Mm-hmm. Because it was right around Christmas.
Since it came out. I would say now with some time in retrospect, I would call it my second favorite of the 4 that came out last year.
Behind
Loki. I like Loki more.
Yeah.
Loki had like a really cool aesthetic to it. That's like way up my alley. And I liked what they did with the Loki character. I really liked Sylvie a lot too. The time variance situation was very cool. I love that cosmic shit. And I really loved that Kang the Conqueror ending.
Yeah.
You know, like the one who remains. I loved that entire monologue, that entire scene.
Yeah.
Had such like I play D&D a lot. And I like these games that have these huge, beautiful fucking like lived in universes. This to me had very like awesome part of a D&D campaign feel. Like
we're talking Loki.
Yeah, Loki. Where like at the end of the show, you're just like at the end of a fucking like you reach the end of the fucking
I like
everything.
that comparison, dude. That's a pretty good comparison because that whole like end was very like D&D Strahd sort of like villain at the end, like just like you've already been defeated, like but you know like this and that sort of thing. Like I like that. That's weird because I would have never drawn that comparison until you pointed it out there. Yeah. But yeah, I would say I'm probably in the same boat with you. Okay, this is although I went into the show fully expecting to hate this fucking show. Yeah, like this is the one I was like, yeah, I was like this fucking dumb shit, and like I come out of it going. Yeah, I like this one. I thought this was pretty fun. And it reminds me, again, of like Stargirl. Like, I even compared it. I was like, when I was watching this, I felt like I was watching Stargirl. Because this is pretty much what Stargirl was, except for, you know, like, I mean, even the same, like, the main, like, other character is a girl that's got these powers. You know, she's got powers in Stargirl, obviously, which she didn't have powers here, but basically powers. And, like,
I mean, as much powers as a young Hawkeye, maybe.
Yes, yeah. And similar kind of thing where she's fighting against these villains and kind of like, you know, similar powers, but more experienced, and she's in the middle of this thing. And so, like, I felt and a lot of the same comedy. And I liked season 1 of Stargirl, and I stopped there because I'm not going to watch season 2 because I'm done with that type of shit. But, like, yeah, it was definitely a fun show, and I'm glad we watched it. So that was what I would say about it.
Yeah, it was a good end to the year. I mean, obviously Spider-Man was the end of the year, but yeah, it was a good end of the year.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of Disney,
what
have you thought? This is a bit of a left field. What have you thought about the Book of Boba Fett?
I haven't watched a single episode of the Book of Boba Fett.
I watched 3 and then quit. So, you know, funny.
I wasn't even interested in giving it 1. That's how much they lost me. See, this is what I'm talking about with the Disney and the Star Wars shit. Because I feel like when Mandalorian was coming out, I was just like, oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah. And then Mandalorian season 2, I was just like, okay. And then Boba Fett was coming out, which is why I was hyped for Mandalorian season 1. Yeah. Because I was just like, oh, is this like a Boba Fett thing? Yeah. Now, where it's like, here's your Boba Fett thing, I was like, no thanks, I'll pass. I
gotta be honest, man.
Into it.
I'm gonna say something. Yeah. I think you would like the first 2 episodes of Boba Fett.
Nah. Even if I would, I don't want to watch it. I don't even want to like it. I'm so done with Star Wars that it's like if you were just like, dude, like there's this Chuck E. Cheese show that came out that's so fucking good. Like it's real. It's in the heart. Like I'd be like, I'm not interested, man. I'm not just. I don't want to watch. I don't like watch Chuck E. Cheese. Yeah, I don't want to watch anything that's Chuck E. Cheese. Like even if it's the best fucking thing I'll ever watch, it's Chuck E. Cheese. I'm not. That's not my aesthetic anymore. And that's how I feel about Star Wars.
Totally. I totally get what you're trying to say. Yeah. Because that's like, if you told me, you're like, hey, there's new show come out just now. It's about an alternate timeline where we're fighting the Nazis, but they have like some like solar powers that they use or some shit. I'd be like, is it shit? You'd be like, yes. I'd be like, what channel is it on? I'm watching it. I don't give a fuck. It's shit. I totally feel where you're coming from. And I was totally out on Boba Fett. Yeah. And then somebody, of course, because like I was like kind of like not paying attention to it and shit like that. And episode 6 just came out, so I've missed 3 episodes. Okay. And episode 6 hit, and there's a character in it that I was just like,
the blue guy with the red eyes,
Cad Bane, bro. I'm like.
Somebody posted something about it, and they're like, if you haven't watched the
I gotta go
you
back.
Have no fucking clue. And I was just like, yeah, great. I don't give a shit.
Right, so
because that's how it happened with Ashoka Tano. That's her name. Yeah, because when she came out, everyone just like, whoa! And I was like, what? I don't know her. You know, like, what's that mean to me? Nothing, you know?
Well, you have to remember,
I feel like Star Wars has become a thing that you can't like passively anymore. You're either
it's
one of these guys, or you're just not going to like it.
It's Marvel. I mean, that's basically what Marvel is at this point, too. You have to watch all this stuff to keep up with everything at this point.
But it's always been the movies. Whereas with this, I have to go back and watch cartoons from 15 years ago.
Yeah. It's It's silly, bro. It's a silly thing.
Yeah.
And I think if you're into Star Wars, it's like, all right, cool. I'm going to keep on rocking Star Wars.
What was
But
the movie?
again-
It was like when Han Solo came out, and at the end,
Yeah.
it was Darth Maul with robot legs.
Yeah.
I was like, the fuck? But
All of
everybody
it's
who watched
explained in
the
the
shows,
cartoon. Yes,
they
I
were
know.
just like, oh, that's that. And I'm like, okay.
Because it's like a Marvel thing. If like at the end of a Marvel episode, like when they revealed Blade, it's like we know that's Blade, but like most people
I
are
didn't know
like,
that
who
was
the fuck
Blade.
is that?
I didn't know it was Blade. I had to look
Really?
it up. I thought it was Nick Fury.
Oh, okay.
And then I looked it up, and they were just like, yeah, the director did a little interview, and she confirmed that was Marshall Ali.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, okay, all right. Okay,
Blade, baby.
yeah, I'm into that.
Speaking
I'm
of
into
which,
that. I'm not into this other thing. Oh, speaking of which, there's a bunch of unaired episodes that we did about The Mandalorian that at some point you guys are going to get. So
it'll probably be on Patreon.
yeah, the Patreon.
Maybe we'll do a quick thing. I don't know. To be honest,
I'm going to release so much stuff on the Patreon. If you guys really like this show and you're just like, I wonder, what all that other stuff is, or I would like more content, I'm going to release a ton of fucking stuff on the Patreon, and like the follow amount is like $1. So
Yeah.
if you want to watch all that stuff, throw us a buck.
it's funny because like I was thinking to myself, you know what? Maybe at the end we'll go back and we'll cover Boba Fett. But
Okay.
then I was like, no, wait, no. Because I would much rather talk with you about like Midnight Mass on Netflix or Archive 81 on Netflix.
There you go.
There is so much shit that is so much fucking better than Boba Fett that I'm just like, I think I'm to the point where I'm just not that into Star Wars anymore. Because I'm just like, I love the idea of Star Wars. When I was at Star Wars Galaxies, I loved my time there.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna tie myself to having to watch. Like I told somebody, I was like, I'll catch up on Boba Fett at some point.
That's
give
really
a
what it
fuck.
is. I'm not going to tie myself to having to watch
Right.
it. If it was good enough to
Yes.
watch above the other stuff that I'm watching, then dope. Then they're hitting it out of the park. But I'm not going to watch it just because it's Star Wars.
Yes.
I don't owe Star Wars shit.
Right,
You know?
you're right. You're gonna have some people that are listening that are not gonna be happy with you about this. But hey, man, it is what
Like
it
I
is.
said, in case I ask you something, I hope you disagree with my takes the rest of my life.
Hey, man, I get it.
All right. Well, thanks for a really fun year in Marvel. Everybody who listened, thank you for all the support and all the kind words.
yeah.
It really means a lot to us.
And we got other some Marvel stuff kind of coming soon.
Yeah, I mean, we'll keep doing the Marvel.
Well, no, we got Blade coming.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And I think in a couple of weeks, the Blade episode will be out. So yeah, that'll be fun. That'll be a little different. But if you want to hear more Marvel takes, we are doing that for the regular cast. All right, everybody, it was fun. Glad to be back. Have an awesome week. We will see you next time.